Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Well, Merry Christmas once again here at Giga-Texas. It is the 24th of December, Christmas Eve, and it's really hard for me to believe that this is my 5th Christmas covering Giga-Texas. Now for today, I thought I would do a look back of what the factory and the site appeared like 5 years ago today. Now this is actually remarkable footage because one, this shows you how much progress had been made in just 5 months since they started the clearing of the ground and preparing this site. Of course, at the time I didn't really know what I was going to be seeing and how long I would be doing this, so I shot this video, tried to give an idea of what the structure looked like at that time. We can see some of the steel infrastructure coming up, specifically at the paint shop. As we cross over the power lines, to give you an idea of what the east parking lot looked like at that time, it was pretty much just a field that was being cleared up, and it was significantly smaller than what we see today. But looking across back over towards the main factory site, you can start getting a pretty good idea of the outline of the factory and what it would eventually look like. Now here I'm on the east side, kind of at the middle point of the building, and looking back at where body in white would be constructed at some point. Now we do see the footings that were being put in at that time, but there was obviously a lot of work to go. As I continue to maneuver here on the east side towards the south, we're kind of flying over where eventually would be that old testing and calibration lot with all the superchargers, and of course now with that large multi-parking garage. As we continue to fly further to the south, we can see the beginnings of what would eventually be the stamping machine section. And again, they hadn't really started assembling much of that at that time. They had already finished most of the underground isolation foundations, which are kind of needed, or at least would be needed for the support of the stamping presses. And overall, this is pretty much what the factory looked like at that time. And it's just really neat to kind of look back at history and just imagine this has just been 5 years ago. And just as I mentioned, the important part, or the interesting part, is not only just how far they came in 5 months, but how far they've come in 5 years. So I'm going to recreate part of that flight at the main video so you can kind of compare and contrast, and just we'll also go on a longer flight around the site since there's not a lot going on today, and just kind of give you some different views of what is all going on throughout the extent of the entire site here on this Christmas morning here at Giga-Texas. As I've been talking here, I've been showing you kind of a transition between the old and the current from the same perspective, and I hope that you enjoyed that kind of clip as well. So there's only one more thing to say before we go flying, and here it is.
Merry Christmas! If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Merry Christmas Eve, the 5th time I've done this, and as I mentioned in the intro, I'm recreating the flight path that I did on this date 5 years ago. And in the inset in the upper right, you can follow along to kind of compare between what it looks like today and what it looked like back then. And I'll just sort of fly around here and let the Christmas music play, and we'll resume the narration on the south end. So as we arrive at the south end of the factory, if you compare to the inset, the biggest difference is the extension here, which wasn't begun for another few years. But otherwise, this is pretty much the same vantage point as we saw back in 2020. Now, I'm going to pivot the drone back off to the east, and we're going to fly over more of the site that at that time really was not developed. So the first thing we see is River Road's extension on the left-hand side of the screen. On the bottom right is one of those paths that follows along the riverbank and is in the area which will be that ecological river park that is going to kind of wrap around this side of Giga-Texas and will be open to the public eventually. Here's a great shot of this clearing. The 4 steel corrugated pipes now have been mostly filled over and preparing for River Road to extend through here, and the grade work that is continuing. There's a nice look at these dirt pathways that kind of crisscross around this part of the site. And again, this is going to be that river park that's opened up for the public at some point in the future. Now, this is a great view looking back towards the main factory. Because it's not a really busy day today, either production, which is on a pause for the holidays, or even construction, with the exception of what we'll see at Cortex 2, I'm going to kind of stay farther away today, kind of give you a little bit more views that I don't normally show you. Of course, the Colorado River is the bottom of the screen, and this gives you a great sense of scale of where the factory is in relation to the Colorado River. All the trailers and the equipment, the workshops, and the East Warehouse on Wheels that you see is the familiar places that I show you on the east side. But here we're just a little bit farther away. And of course, behind me is some more land that is related to Giga-Texas, and all of what we see at the bottom of the screen and through these trees will be part of that river park, even up to this point. As we get to the battery cathode plant crash test, and you can just see the tops of the die shop and Cortex 2, I want to just sort of pivot the drone here, show you all of the trails that are being put in around this small pond. Also, kind of a sense of what they've done to build up those drive paths all the way through here. And if you look closely, you can see some of the drive path goes through the trees, and it will kind of open up or exit up over to this part of the site. Very rough kind of terrain that they're going through, but it will bring us eventually over to this large field, which I've been calling Lone Tree ever since the very beginning of Giga-Texas. And this gives you a kind of a sense of what's going on here. There is some construction at the very bottom of the screen. We see the rental equipment lot off to the left, and all along the tree line here, which is next to the Austin Colony housing area, we've seen some underground trenching maybe a year or so ago, and this was all part of eventual construction that's going to go up on this side of the site. Now, as we continue to fly further to the north, we'll pass that triangular open section on the left and all of these trees. Linden Road is off to the right, and everything that we see here is still Giga-Texas's property. And kind of start turning back to the south so you can kind of get an idea of how far away we are from the main factory. And we're several miles up to the north. And all of this property, again, is Giga-Texas. And it looks like these large fields and this section with the trees, the hills, and the ponds in the middle, that rectangular section, is all in the process of being prepared for some sort of construction. And that's something I'm definitely waiting to see. The large field that's in the middle of the screen used to have a lot of equipment, concrete sections, and a lot more, and all of that has been cleaned off over the last month or two. So it's almost completely ready for maybe the next level of construction. The bottom of the screen is where the old farmhouse used to be, and that was demolished over a year ago. And that was one of the last remaining original structures on the property. I'm going to fly over this field to show you what it looks like now that all of the concrete has been removed, all of the equipment has been removed. You can see much of that off to the left side of that roadway next to those hills and the trees. And this section here used to have a lot of tree debris from all over the site, and it has recently been cleaned up, mulched, and removed. So this is what this is looking like right now. Of course, in the top of the screen is a great view of where Giga-Texas is and the Cortex 2 and battery cathode plant for context. And as I get closer in here, just to give a good view of what has happened with the cleanup here and some of the dirt that's been piled up. And of course, at the bottom of the screen, you can see where all that concrete was broken up and removed. So most of this work does appear to be completed. Now, in these valleys and the hills that used to be the sand and gravel mine, you can see that there is some work that's being done in here, and eventually this may all be reclaimed. As I come back over to Lone Tree Field, show you the rental equipment lot again, some of the maintenance facilities. Off to the left is more of the concrete sections that came from the south end of Giga-Texas before they started the extension. And this is a section that has been used for dirt, for storage. It's currently being used to store much of that concrete that was broken up and removed from that large field. And you can see another excavator here at the bottom of the screen. Additional equipment, and that pipe that we just passed over is one of the last remaining sections of the original baghouse filtration plant, which is where the electrical switchyard is now. I'm going to stay up at this altitude. We'll fly around the complex of structures here and kind of get a sense of the one main area of activity today, and that is around Cortex 2. And we're going to kind of stop here, get a good overall view of the activity. Then I'll bring the drone down and we'll fly along this east side and take a look at what is going on. Now, in my previous video, we saw large containers being lifted up off of the heavy lift trailers and moved inside that receiving door with the white and blue crane. See some more manifold sections and pipe on the right. That's part of the cooling system that's being installed on the east half of the interior of Cortex 2. We do see some earthwork equipment maneuvering around here, some of the materials, some of the pipes that are stored, getting ready to be installed. There is some work over on the trench in the center of the screen that is underway here today. And directly ahead is where I think another large section of the cooling system is going to be constructed. They've raised the grade, they brought in that lighter color dirt, and now crews are fashioning some of the rebar cages that are going to be used for this new structure. Also, you can see that pit next to the building. This is all very reminiscent of the work that was done before the concrete structure at the top center of the screen was constructed. So I'm kind of expecting something very similar. As I get closer in here, I'll zoom in so you can see some of these transformers and electronic equipment on this platform and that railing system next to the wall. This is similar to what we'll see on the west side. And today, that concrete slab in the center section of this chiller plant is being poured, and those riding trowels, sometimes are called helicopters, are being used to smooth out the concrete and make sure that it is fully level for the next stage of construction. Here's a great view down into these bunker manifold boxes. You can see the pipes, some of the connections, and some of the additional work and rebar that they are putting in here now. And looks like there's 4 nearly identical sections of these bunker reinforced sections next to the wall that have all the pipes. And here's a good view of more of that concrete work that is underway to finish off this pour, and what the south end looks like with those walls that kind of extend beyond the south wall. More of the forms on the right, and we may see those used again at that further north site, which we talked about just earlier. So I'm going to kind of maneuver the drone around here. We'll fly along the south side of the building, and we'll take a look at what's going on with the transformer installation and more screw-type piers on the west side. great look at the kind of routing trays that are used for the cables that will connect the transformers up over the parapet wall and into the main building. Looks like they are doing some more work on a transformer here with the crane. And the crane is sitting on ground where there's more screw type piers that have been added in. And we saw that work on my previous video, so not much change there. What is changing is that they are extending this platform further to the north, and crews are busy pulling cable off of these spools as they are feeding that cable in through the conduit that goes underground through this section and comes up in all those concrete vaults that you see on the right. More screw type piers being added, and at the bottom of the screen, risers for electrical conduit, and they're working on this opening on the building. I did notice that there was a Conestoga or accordion truck that arrived, and I'll zoom in. You can see that this looks like more of those enclosed cable trays that will extend over the parapet wall and onto the roof, as we saw on the previous installation. Of course, the workshops there are pretty busy, and more materials being stored here as well. So I'll bring the drone up to a little higher altitude, give you a view of Cortex 2, and then I'm going to pull away off to the north because I want to show you some additional part of the site that I am not able to show you most of the time. And as we fly to the north over the trees, you'll see a kind of a dirt path coming into view on the right. This connects where the electrical switchyard work site is, and also the north part of Cortex, all the way back up to that large field where we saw the tree debris that had been removed, and they are preparing that whole site for eventual construction. And as I pan the drone further to the north, you'll get a sense of where we are now and where that road connects. Of course, below us here is a lot of area that is available for a future construction. This does all belong to Giga-Texas. You can see the linear hills and valleys below the drone. That's part of that old sand and gravel mining that used to happen through this area. And as I bring the drone back down again, we'll see where a lot of landscaping materials, some pipes, and other workshops are located. And I don't really get a chance to show you this much. One of the things I did notice here was these solar panels and these portable mobile power units that use power walls and a gateway, and obviously solar to charge it up. We're going to see the main workshop that builds these a little later in the video. And these have been used all over the site to provide mobile power in kind of a unique and very Tesla way. It's kind of neat that they're also using this equipment because they are testing along the way too for perhaps future products that maybe all of us will have a chance to purchase. As we get closer to the electrical switchyard north end, just show you the state of assembly. And this is what it looks like right now. It looks like 5 of the A-frames have been installed, more A-frame parts on the ground in 2 different sections. And we'll continue to see this work after the holidays. And more of the concrete slabs, that main slab for the second transformer and the catch basin. And as I pull away, more of the equipment items on the ground stored here, waiting for their chance to be installed into that switchyard expansion. As you can tell, crews are pulling more cables through these vaults all the way over to Cortex 2. You can see some of the cables on the ground on that plastic. Here's some additional work that's being done on the same kind of idea, and all of the cables that are being positioned to be pulled through. Did also want to show you that there is work going on with the underground vault here under these 3 control trailers, and they've done some excavation work around where some of the vaults are. And of course, this connecting tunnel is starting to get more and more of the cables installed, and you can get a great sense of how they're using those yellow cable carriers along the walls to hold up all of these cables. And I just mentioned again that these cables are actually quite large. They're much bigger than you would imagine just from the drone shot, but they are substantial to handle all the power needs that are going to be coming from the switchyard and powering the factory, and also Cortex 2. Of course, Cortex 2 is we've got some permits that have shown that it's going to be up to 200 megawatts of electrical power going to that facility, which is quite large. And that's just one of several power hungry parts of Giga-Texas. And that's why that electrical switchyard is being expanded. So I'm going to cross over the highway and we're going to resume on this part of the site. Now, part of what we are seeing, particularly below the drone and off to the north, is Giga-Texas. Some of this field and all of the Lone Star Asphalt and Concrete Company here is not part of Giga-Texas. It's kind of like a little island on the west side in and amongst Giga-Texas property. Just across the road through the middle of the screen, which is Tesla Road, is Giga-Texas property again. So much of this asphalt and concrete is also being used not only for Giga-Texas, but also for all around the area here in this kind of east part of Austin. As we cross over Tesla Road, it's a nice view of this large area of land, which is still part of Giga-Texas. And don't know what plans they may have. Right now, it looks like not much, but we do see the new perimeter fence on the bottom of the screen that goes all around that area. This is where we've seen all of these new vehicles stored for transportation. There's a couple of them that have vehicles on them. We saw one just departing the site. That work is continuing at a very small level here today. And I think that it will resume after the holidays as they clear out the rest of the inventory. This is a higher altitude view of this entire west side. This is called the West Support Facility for Giga-Texas. Obviously, there's a housing community off to the right. That is not part of Giga-Texas, but on the bottom of the screen and near the road, you can see that perimeter fence, which delineates what is and what is not Tesla property. Also, you can tell that the outbound lot is quite empty. There are some provisions for a delivery event going on where it says Tesla at the north part of the end-of-line facility. So I suspect that later today, probably, or maybe right after Christmas, they will be doing some more direct deliveries here at the factory for customers. I'll stay up at this altitude and just sort of fly along, kind of panning the drone off to the east so you can just see what this part of the site looks like with the main Giga-Texas factory and the site areas that we visited earlier. And we'll resume on the far southwest side with the narration. View of that kind of empty field that's been used for all kinds of dirt and storage. Of course, this large parking lot, which is for contractors, and then looking all the way back to Giga-Texas of where we are at. And this is the farthest southwest part of the Giga-Texas property, and it extends just to the south of River Road, which you see in the middle of the screen, over to the Colorado River. And much of this area with the trees, and you can see that kind of almost a pond on the left-hand side of the screen, is part of what was the ecological uplift program that Tesla spent many millions of dollars to renovate and restore this part of the site back to its natural appearance. Directly below this, the drone is the Colorado River, which is the southern border of Giga-Texas. Of course, we saw earlier in the video, it wraps all the way around to the far northeast. There's another great shot of the outbound lot, end of line, and the west warehouse on wheels. And as we continue to approach the south bridge, a nice view of the main factory. And comparing to what we saw at the intro and the very beginning of the video, just really amazing just how much has changed in 5 Christmases here on the site. And just kind of cross over that highway, looking at the very southern end of the new extension of the factory, of course, Colorado River below us, and all of the caisson work that I've been showing you along River Road and this west berm. So to end the video today, I'm going to do a high altitude pass from the west looking to the east over the main factory. This gives you a great look at the Tesla letters, the amount of the solar panels that are on the roof currently. You can see kind of that thin strip of solar panels that underline the letters of TESLA. That was recently added on, and I do expect to see more solar panels added to the roof now that the majority of the roof modifications have been made. As we pass the flagpoles and the west main entrance, a great view back up to the far north where we were looking at those fields, and also the construction site for Cortex 2 next to the die shop and the battery cathode plant. As I maneuver the drone one last time towards the north, panning back to the south, great view of the east side, the multi-level parking garage, the Colorado River with the sewage treatment plant and the energy plant that serves this area in the top part of the screen. As always, thank you very much for watching. Merry Christmas and enjoy the holidays.